Well, I attended the governor's Blue Ribbon Tax Commission meeting in Bowling Green, and I have to tell you that what they're doing right now is they're traveling the state and they're having people testify before the committee that want to raise your taxes. They're not really looking for a simpler tax code. They're looking for the simplest way to raise your taxes. So the next state representative you send to Frankfurt, you need to realize that I've signed the Taxpayer Protection Pledge. I'm not going to vote to raise your taxes, and my opponent has a mixed record on voting for tax increases. There's some argument over what a tax increase is. I called it a tax increase, and you called it a suspension of a carry forward. But that's political talk for a tax increase. And so a simpler, flatter tax for me would be to take away some of the income tax, and I would also, under my tax plan that I have, I want to cut taxes on small businesses, struggling small businesses at that. And I would be willing to work with a bipartisan commission, a blue ribbon tax commission, if it takes it, to set whatever level is fair. But somewhere around a $250,000 profit area, to me and below, is what a small business is. And we now have rates that are regressive based on income ratios. But I want to see taxes cut on small businesses, not raising them or suspending carry forwards, but I want to lower your taxes. And to me, to get the economy moving, that's what we do. We put it in the hands of small business. What my opponent has a history of doing is trusting the governor, and they send the money to the biggest businesses in your towns, not to the small guys. The taxes go up on the small people. So under a fairer, simpler tax plan, to me, we would lose the income tax and become more competitive with Tennessee. We would lower taxes on small businesses, not give the free bank bailouts, basically they're bailouts, to big businesses. And I think that's the wrong direction. We believe that government knows better, and that's wrong. Government does not know better. You voting with your money every time you go to buy something decides what we need in the market. Roads don't create jobs. They don't. You can't just build a road and expect a factory to pop up. The factory comes first. The revenue from the factory builds the roads. It's not vice versa.
Okay, thank you. Representative King, what would you consider to be a key component to help meet these 5 goals?
When we talk about tax structures, can you guys hear me okay? How about now? All right. When we talk about the tax structures that we have in Kentucky, and we look around, Kentucky has a fair and balanced way of looking at taxes. We've got an equal amount pretty much between sales tax, income tax, corporate tax, and personal tax. When we look at the Tennessee structure of taxes, as we've all gone across the line, we do know that we pay a lot more for sales tax, and including food. The corporate tax is a little lower, but they don't have personal tax. When you're trying to balance all of these issues, you want to come up with something that's fair and equitable for everyone. And I do think the governor's tax the Blue Ribbon Tax Commission is important, because what we're trying to do in Kentucky, the tax structure has not been changed in over 20 years. And when we look at today's economy and where we are, we're going to have to be creative about how we do this. No one wants to pay more taxes. I certainly don't. I know you all don't either. But in Kentucky, we use taxes for specific things, and there are people worth fighting for. Children, seniors, military. We do want projects in our area. We do want economic development here. I am willing to look and put everything on the table when we start talking about modifying the tax structure in Kentucky, because my job as your state representative is to go there and know what's important for you, know what's important for me, and this area here. I'm fighting with Louisville and Lexington when it comes to tax dollars bringing back to our community, and I will look at a fair and equitable tax structure, and I will not take a pledge to say what I will or will not do, because my job is to work for you. And I think tax pledges to say I will never do one thing or another impedes you from doing the job. I have your best interest at heart, and I will be willing to look at this tax structure. Thank you.
Thank you.